What's up, otakus? Happy New Year. Happy Year of the Wooden Dragon. It's the Wood Dragon year. I guess you can make a lot of jokes about the Wood Dragon. Not even sure what a Wood Dragon is, but it's supposed to be a prosperous year. Wood Dragons are supposed to be a good year. Hello to Miss So. Hopefully more people do. I am going early. I did say I was going to go live at 8 p.m. tonight, but I couldn't wait. My books are ready, so thought I'd just go live now. So this is going to be sort of an interesting first video of the new year. We're going to be going over a lot of sort of items and topics. First and foremost, we're going to go over my first haul of 2024. It's a small haul. Don't want to get anybody's expectations up. It's 3 books. I won't go over what those are. The more exciting piece is what's in this box. And this is a trade I did with Brian LCS, aka the Godfather. He made me an offer I couldn't refuse. And really, yeah, I mean, I had Spider-Man books in my overflow box. He had, he put out this video. I saw the books that I wanted. I said, I want these books out of your pile. It was 11 books. I think I ended up sending him like 10 books. But in terms of the trade itself, he only wanted like 6 books in return for these 11 books. Nothing that I really was terribly kind of wanting to hang on to in terms of what I gave him, and I'm sure the same for him. So we got it done, and I couldn't be happier. Basically, I sent him a first Ben Riley ASM 140. Was it 151 or 149? One of those two. But it was very low grade. I sent him a photo, let him know it's pretty worn on the cover, but everything else on the interior and everything was good. It's just that cover that was really in bad shape. And a lot of the Spectacular Spider-Mans in that deal, a lot of the sort of the more modern, some modern Spider-Mans, Webless Spider-Mans, all of those he didn't have in his collection. So it worked out for the best. And Brian, thank you, sir. Hopefully you put up more books and we can get another trade going. But yeah, this one was a really special trade because again, I got books that are really sort of core, like PC books, things that that are going to go into my filing cabinet. So we'll get to this unboxing, and then we're going to go over some exciting plans, some announcements that have given me sort of direction on how I'm going to plan the year out. And I'm going to give you sort of some insights into what we're going to do to work to that point. And we're really going to be focused on that specific event and date. So I'll go over that. And then just my thoughts on the CGC scandal. Hey, what's up, Matt? Happy Thursday, buddy. My thoughts on the CGC scandal. CGC put out a list of affected books from apparently this one scammer. But I still think there's a lot of information lacking, and I get why CGC would drag their feet and want the public to think everything's been fixed, and kind of like to kind of forget about this incident. But in my mind, they haven't addressed anything other than some transparency around this one case. So it all boils down to how isolated was this incident. So we'll get into this topic as well. So lots of things to kind of go over. All right. So we are going to start with my 3-book haul. It was a very modest visit to Destiny City Comics. I had 2 books on hold there. Didn't have a lot of time. Went during kind of my lunch break and went over there to pick up the books. But we ended up talking to Ethan. We talked at length about the CGC debacle. I dug through his dollar bins and picked up again 3 books in all. I had a Submariner, I think 54, on hold. But after looking at the condition, I decided that wasn't necessarily a book I needed. Not that it was priced high. It was priced like $4 or $5. Pretty fair value. But again, it given the condition, it was rather low grade, and just given it wasn't a book that I really needed to add, I took that book out and ended up getting just one of the books I had on hold and $2 books. So we'll get into what I got. First book, paid $1 for this, and it's a solid VF copy. And from what I could tell, the interior and everything's complete. So Ethan just had it priced ridiculously low. Again, unless there's like a torn page in there somewhere, it's a pretty nice copy, and that is ASM 307. Just a nice Origin of the Chameleon, nice cover by Todd McFarlane there. Some early ASM Todd. $1 pickup for essentially like a $20 key book is a win. And that is, I'll show the cover again. Here we go. This, Chameleon's just been one of those villains, one of the original villains from the initial start of Spider-Man. And here we have him mimicking Spider-Man, essentially, or at least the costume there. Very nice. All right. The next book also is a very nice book. Now, I'm not going to open it up and show you, but I have 2 copies in this bag and board. Generally, what I do is I put my newsstand copy face value, and if I have a direct, like a duplicate, I'll put the back. I'll put it in the back with the back cover showing. So it looks like there's 2 books in here, but you can see the front and the back cover on this. So the back cover is what I picked up. It's a direct edition of Superman 15. Nothing big. It's not a big book, but I noticed, again, I found this in the dollar bin. I noticed on the interior page, it was signed by Carl Kessel, who's the inker that worked on this run with John Byrne. So I thought, wow, signed book, let's get it. So we got a signed book, direct copy of Superman 15 for $1. Decent condition, nothing really wrong with it, no creases or anything like that. So I'll put it at a very fine grade. And anytime you can get a signed book for $1 is a win. So we got 2 really great books for $1. These are ones I'm going to keep in my collection for the most part. Unless one day I decide, hey, I don't need Todd McFarlane books. I've kind of picked up a lot of Todd McFarlane books. So if I do come to that decision to like purge Todd, it'll be like a bundled kind of deal, hopefully. And the last book. This one is just one of my favorite Daredevil covers from Frank Miller. Frank Miller's put out a lot of nice Daredevil covers, but I think this one has to be one of his most iconic images, and that's Daredevil 188. This iconic Black Widow cover. I picked this one up this is the one I had on hold. Got it for $4.50. And yeah, really pleased with this pickup. It's really high grade too. For a black cover, there aren't any creases. I don't even see many spine ticks, so I'm thinking if there's an issue, there's something on the back, maybe a crease in the back, but front looks really flawless. So just shout out to Ethan for having these books, all these books, so affordably priced. That's one thing. If I had about $30, I could have also picked up First Deathstroke and First Nightwing, because he had those two issues selling for $20 and $10 respectively. I mean, they're not like super high grade books, but I mean, they were probably around mid to upper grade. So yeah, I mean, if I had $30, I probably would have picked those up, but another dude had claimed them and picked them up that day. So sometimes having some extra reserve cash is sometimes a good thing, but didn't work with my budget. All right. We're gonna get to the trade. All right. So again, this trade was with Brian LCS. All of you know Brian. He's such a just a rock in our community. He's really the foundation of, at least in my circle of the woods, he's sort of first and foremost, he does such a great service for the community with the annual Comic Book Community Awards. That's always just a fun process throughout the year. It's just been an honor to be not only nominated for an award, but just to be a part of that entire process and see it unfold and connect with so many great channels and community members. It takes certain key community members to bring people together, or at least, kind of broaden that network that we share. And I'm not the best at like going out and tracking every channel and following people and watching everybody's content. So that platform, what he does is so valuable, and it's really helped shape this YouTube community. And I don't even want to say YouTube community. It extends far beyond YouTube, because I found people, on Instagram, through other people's posts. I've connected with people. So it just, if you're into comic books, if you're local to the region, it's been nice to discover people in just our neck of the woods. So that's what I really appreciate about all this. All right. So Brian did, he just completely went over the top with the packaging and got a nice little note, Happy New Year note from him. So I got some extra backing boards as well. That's nice. How'd you know, Brian? And we'll just start showing off the books. I did want to try to get these in a specific order, because let's see, what should I show off first? Because should I go older to modern or modern to old? I'll go more older to modern first. So I'm just gonna deal with me while I get some of this tape off and talk about what we got. So for those of you that watch my channel, it's no surprise that I love Jim Lee. I collect Jim Lee. But the other part of that, so I went over the data of my collection a while back just to see, like which artists or which writers, which titles, all of that data in my collection. And it turns out Jim Lee is my most collected artist. And second to Jim Lee is John Byrne. So John Byrne is my second most collected artist. And not that I'm trying to pick up every book by John Byrne, because that's a very big lift, but we are trying our best to do as much. So I've really sort of targeted the certain runs, like Fantastic Four, and what I'm about to show off. So yeah, nice. These are nice high grade copies too. Okay, perfect. Yeah, very nice. These were red, obviously, but that's okay, because if I was a kid collecting this specific series, I would have listened and read the heck out of it too. Okay, so let me kind of backtrack here. I really, when I was collecting, as you know, I was into Superman before I got into comic books. And a lot of that had to do with the fact that I was, I think, 6 years old, 5 or 6 years old when Superman, no, I was younger than that. I was 5 years old. So I was 5 years old when Superman, the movie, hit theaters. And I just remember coming out of the theater with my parents, just absolutely in love with Superman. No context of who the guy was, but you get it. I mean, a 5-year-old watches that movie and you just see there were a lot of, confusing things going on, but you understand, like, oh, okay, Superman came to Earth and then he grew up in Kansas and he becomes Clark, he's Clark Kent, he becomes a reporter, he becomes Superman, and it's just a cinematic experience that shapes your, I guess, view of the world. So that was my superhero. That was just my entire, nothing to do with the comics at that point, right? And then I did get into comics, And when I did get into comics, I realized, hey, Superman started in the comic books. So we started reading Superman. And it wasn't until this particular run that I really uh, thought, hey, okay, here's a Superman that I kind of connect and identify with. I love the artwork. I love the writing. I think it's really sort of an underappreciated, uh, not at the time. This was a very popular run at the time, but I think today it's rather underappreciated. Um, I think Superman in general is underappreciated, but this hopefully with the sort of the with the release of Legacy and the refocus on Superman. Yeah, there's a lot of funny Silver Age, Golden Age and Silver Age stories of Superman. But yeah, this is really it's consistent with what we saw in the movies. I think it was just sort of like bringing Superman into the modern, Superman basically in the modern 80s, world, whereas Superman for a long time was kind of like in this sort of I guess he's always been in the modern kind of context, but there's sort of something, I think, golden agey about, I shouldn't say golden agey, but like something classic, something that harkens back to like the 50s and 40s, 50s, and 60s that had remained with the character leading up to this run. And this run kind of establishes, hey, a new sort of context, like Superman in the context of our more modern world. And it again reimagines his whole origin story and reestablishes all the characters with this great John Byrne artwork. And again, just a great series to plunge into if you're getting into Superman for the first time in comic books, which kind of was my case. Like, I was in love with the cinematic version, hadn't gotten really into Superman comics until this run. And then, the Byrne continued to do a run on Superman that I really connected with. So these are dollar books, day in, day out. And these were some of when I got back into collection, these were some of the first books I targeted. I just I wanted to get this. And luckily they weren't expensive. They were just dollar books. We got the whole run. And we got like the 2 variant covers that come with this. One thing I was able to pick up at a show was this special audio edition, and it's a kind of like an ash can or a mini comic. And I think this came with like a cassette that you could listen along to and just follow the story, which was really cool. Like, it was obviously targeted for kids, but it gave you something to kind of added some that I guess more depth to the audio and dialogue. But you could also, again, as a kid, could read along and enjoy the story that much more with sound effects and all that. And there were a lot of those kinds of books, sort of these like, I just remember there was like a action figure I got that came with a cassette as well, and that had a bunch of Superman stories, kind of like the old radio style, like with sound effects and all that. And it just really kind of broadened your imagination somewhat, just listening. So it's kind of in that regard. And I had the #1 issue. There's a Walmart sticker on there. I just didn't feel like removing because I didn't want to ruin it. But I just really like this. I have the larger edition, direct edition on the back, but I love this mini comic. And I was just thinking, man, I wonder if there's more of this, and if so, it'd be great to pick them all up. Well, Brian had he had everything except number one. So it was kind of like this, just like really good luck. So we were able to get number two, number three, number four, number five, and number six. So now we have the complete. I don't have the record or the audio cassettes, but I have the little mini collection now. So what's going to be cool is I'm going to have the mini version on the front of the bag, and on the back of the bag we'll have the I think it's good to just turn it around. So we'll have the mini on the front, the big one on the back. So that is just sort of a cool closing of the circle on this really, again, iconic run for me. It's a 6-part miniseries. Again, introduces all the really relevant characters to Superman. You've got Lois Lane on number 2 cover. You got Batman on number 3. You got Lex Luthor on number 4, Bizarro on number 5, and Lana Lang on number 6, along with Jor-El. I mean, can't get any more kind of inclusive of that core series of characters. I guess the only ones that you could say were left out were like Jimmy Olsen and Perry White, right? Those guys are obviously going to be in this book as well, but they just left out the covers. So thanks, Brian. 5 really special books. And then we're going to get to the 6 other books that were part of this trade. And this wasn't necessarily something I was targeting, because this didn't come out all that long ago. It came out in 2020 and 2021, kind of concluded in 2022. So rather recent in terms of its release and all that. And, I have had multiple opportunities to pick this up, and they were always kind of questionable, because this had I think this is a $4.99 $4.99 price tag. So we were hoping to pick it up like maybe half of cover, or get to a point where it's in the dollar bin or something. But again, this trade with Brian, we were able to give away a bunch of books that we wanted to trade for books that are going to be part of the PC now. So that is Batman, Catwoman, and these are all Jim Lee variants to this run. The Clayman, Tom King run. So we'll start here with number 1. Great Jim Lee cover. Let's go with number 2 here. Another nice Joker Catwoman cover. We'll go with number 3. Not familiar with the villain here. Didn't read the series. And number 8, this is a special cover. Christmas edition. They're kissing under the mistletoe. And you got Joker. He's hanging out in the Christmas tree there. Really funny cover. This is a really cool. Love this. I just love the color on this one. Alex Sinclair doing an amazing job on the color on that one. That's number 9. And then the last issue in the run Another just classic cover with Batman, Catwoman, and the Joker. So all great Jim Lee covers, all great editions. So really happy with this trade. Kind of sets the tone for the year to have, again, just a really modest pickup from my local LCS, along with a great trade, just starting the year off right. And I do want to kind of show, when I went to the Jim Lee, this is actually a perfect segue into what I'm going to talk about next. So last year, not last year, 2021. Yeah, 2021. Fall of 2021, as we kind of reopened, coming out of the pandemic, Jim Lee came up to Seattle, did a signing event, took part in a panel, got to experience all that, and got 3 books signed. Along with, he signed this print. You can see his signature there. And that's and then so I've had this print, and I just, it was just a great print. I really love the image. Again, it's a nice sort of light Christmas holiday moment with some, comic relief from the Joker. So now it's kind of like I have the book now as well as this print. The print is huge. I kind of keep it on top of my bookshelf so you don't necessarily see it. But yeah, it's a nice signed print. Now we got the book to go with it. So very, very cool pickup. All right. So speaking of Jim Lee, we got some confirmation this month that Jim Lee is coming to Rose City Comic Con, and we are going to go to Rose City Comic Con. So I haven't gotten the ticket yet. We still got a lot of time. It's September, but I've essentially got 9 months to build up a budget. And what we're targeting is 6 books. So I'm thinking they're going to release some kind of package, like a 3-book signature package, for like $150, somewhere in that range, right? Hopefully it's cheaper, but inflation and everything, it will probably be right around $150 to $200 or so for 3 signed books. So we want to try to buy 2 of those packages to get 6 books signed and whatever other goodies. He's only signing Saturday, so we have to get a Saturday ticket. We have to get those. We have to get that package as soon as they go on sale. I'm gonna get them, but yeah, I'm gonna essentially do what I did last year, and what my wife and my wife and son are going back to Japan this summer. They're gonna leave probably in late May or early June, and once they leave, we're gonna work part-time, and we're gonna and the difference between, I think, what we did last summer and what we're going to do this summer is, last summer I was kind of spending. I was earning and then spending. Like, I would work, a week or 2, get the paycheck and spend it, and not really have a chance to amass that budget and get target big books. But we are going to kind of be more disciplined this summer. And to be honest, no matter who they announce at SummerCon or Emerald City, I think because Jim's definitely coming to Rose City, I don't think he's coming to Emerald City. Um, and I don't think they could announce anybody at it. First of all, Emerald City is super expensive this year. It's like right now they're charging like close to $60 for sort of the pre-term. You don't even really know who's coming, but they're charging close to 60. But by the final sort of tier, the final prices are going to be like 75 for a day. And I looked at that price. I was like, we're not going to Emerald this year. So I think they're just really building off the success of last year. A lot of people attended, so they figure let's raise the prices on everybody. I'm sure that's going to have a big impact on attendance, but we'll see. Seattleites make good money, so I think it's a safe bet to think a lot of people are still going to go. But for budget, conscious people like me, raising it, $10, $20 is kind of a big deal. So we're not going to target Emerald City Comic Con. Besides, that's like 2 months away. It's like in February or March. So just have no, desire to head to something so soon. SummerCon was kind of always in the back of my mind as an option. We'll have to see who comes, but not really excited about that. It's really focused on like celebrity sightings anyway. So, last year we had Marv Wolfman. We had a bunch of Larry Hama. We had a bunch of like really Mike Grell, just legends in the industry. So just getting to see them and meet them was good enough. If those gentlemen come back and if there are a few more names, we may try to hit it up. But for now, it'd have to be really sort of a significant presence of people for me to want to go to that show. But Rose City is turning out to be a pretty packed attendance as of now. And so I'm really looking forward to that. Again, Jim Lee, just the fact that he's going to be there for that one day. We have a bunch of books we want to get signed. I think it works out perfectly. September gives us the entire summer to build up the budget, buy the tickets right at the beginning of the summer, perfect timing, buy the signed packages, and then just kind of work all summer and build up the budget to spend at Rose City and Grit City. So I was really pleased with Grit City and all the books, all the really nice pickups that I got for like, dollars, for $1 to $2-3. Didn't spend more than $4 on a book there. So it was just really, it's kind of like, that's kind of my jam in terms of how much I want to spend and kind of what I want to pick up. I am not going to be buying slabs. Not that I bought slabs prior to the scandal. We're going to get a scandal now. I wasn't a big slab buyer. For me, getting a 9.8 in something, paying to get that high grade isn't something that interests me. I would rather hunt for that book, get it at a reasonable price, and if that reasonable price, obviously the reasonable price is going to be coupled with the grade of the book. As long as, I talk with a lot of collectors, and you really have sort of two camps. One's that obsess with a grade, which I don't knock. I also too think grade is very important for a book. It does determine the value. I'm not going to disagree there. But for me, it's kind of like, as long as it presents well, especially the older books, as long as it presents well and we can get it for a reasonable price that we think, you know, where we're not feeling guilty. Oh, we bought this for this amount, getting flack from our wives, or feeling guilty that we spent this amount rather than get necessities for our family, kind of thing. So I feel really good about that part of my, calculus in terms of picking up books. No problem there. It's not like I target Silver Age keys, Golden Age keys, or any of that anyway. But yeah, for me, this dollar bin book is what I call, is like what I like to collect. So it's no bearing on. So 9.8 in this has absolutely no bearing on who I am as a collector. So I was never in the slab market to begin with. Let's just put that out there. But I was just thinking, okay, let's say I had a bunch of 9.8s in my collection that I just went out and bought, and I spent big money on it. And how would I be feeling right now at this point? I spent hundreds, if not thousands of dollars on a 9.8 book because first of all, it's a 9.8 CGC, and that commands value in the market. But the market fluctuates, okay? So I bought something that is right at this moment worth less. And I see a bunch of people saying no. So there's been a lot of kind of people talking about this, a lot of thoughts and ideas floating around. And there are really two camps. There's the collector camp, which I'm a part of. And then there's the seller camp. And sure, sellers are collectors and collectors are sellers. Sort of a gray area, I get it. But I think where you land on this issue really is your intent, or what you are wishfully thinking, because everybody brings their sort of bias to a certain specific issue or problem, right? And they look at that issue through that lens. So I am looking through the lens as specifically a collector who didn't put a lot of value into grading service. I mean, I understand the value of it if its integrity is intact. But when it loses its integrity, what kind of value are you really looking at, right? And so that's where we are, right? And I posed a question. It seems a lot of the sellers are like, hey, they put out this list. CGC's addressed it. We're going to get, foolproof cases now. And, it's A-okay. You can go back to buying slabs. Go out and target those high price slabs now. Don't wait. Get it. You have this sort of narrative of people trying to push the slabs on you, saying, okay, case closed, problem solved, issue resolved. This includes CGC. CGC is pushing this narrative. The people that submit to CGC have a tremendous amount of investment in these graded books, high graded key books, who move, it's their livelihood to move that inventory, make money. They don't want to see stagflation. They don't want to see people sitting on the sidelines, not wanting to buy these books. CGC doesn't want to see people on the sidelines, not submitting books, not using their service, right? So CGC is going to do everything to drag their feet, uh, minimize this issue, try to say it's isolated, and get the public buying that garbage. When the facts are, it's been going on for 10 years. They had no uh, they had no safeguards or guardrails around this process to prevent it. So you had one guy taking advantage of the system. Who's to say there weren't 3, 4, 10, possibly more? And that's where CGC is lacking transparency. So what I want to see CGC do, if you want to get me to buy a slab on the secondary market, okay, it doesn't matter if the seller has a flawless reputation or has the worst reputation. CGC has the data and can circumvent all that, whether it's a shady seller or a trusted seller. They've got the certification number, they've got the barcode, or sorry, the QR code, or the cert number. You can type that in and it brings up the data. As of now, that data does not show reholder data. If I am mistaken about that key fact, please let me know in the comments. That will drastically change how I look at the service. But what leads me to believe they don't have that data is because it's more work for their process. They probably have the data. They have to make that transparent. They have to make it part of the certification information, the cert data. And until I see the cert data, I am not going to pick up a high grade, high price book for hundreds. I'm not even going to pick up a high grade, modern key, something like, if you were to pick up even this book in a 9.8, you're paying like $300 to $500 for it, right? But who's to say, someone didn't manipulate it during reholdering? Who's to say they're not manipulating it even through the case? A lot of people say, hey, there's a crack in the case, but overall, the book is still good. I mean, people need to wake up. So for CGC to say they've solved it, it's isolated, that is a bunch of BS. So I was on the sidelines of slab buying to begin with, but after this debacle, hell no, I'm not gonna. Like I said, I would prefer to send in my own books, have those graded and sent back to me. And I know for certain that at least the books I sent in, you're trusting that there was no altering of the book or anything like that. Another interesting theory that I've heard from several people in the community as well, including Ethan. Ethan and I chatted about this as well. He thought it could have been an inside job, that there was probably somebody on the inside who knew of the process, that there was this sort of loophole in the reholdering, and was probably working with people on the outside to have them take advantage of this loophole. And again, CGC is only interested in making money, so they get this. They see reholdering as like free money. Hey, we just put it in a case and send it back to them. We make $15. Or what is it? It's like 15 or $20 or something for the service. It's not free, right? They're making money, but a huge oversight. So far what CGC has done is they've acknowledged they have a problem. They've dealt with one isolated incident, and we'll probably see some improvements to the process. But what about all the books that are out there currently on the market? Where's the transparency around those slabs? If I'm buying something on the secondary market, how do I know that book hasn't been reholdered? How do I know that book hasn't been tampered with? It's just, this is such a big, and people, again, there's varying differences of opinion, but the people trying to minimize this problem, saying, oh yeah, it's resolved, you can go back to trusting CGC, I trust them to fix everything, and that's great for you, but it doesn't change it doesn't change some basic facts. And in my view, this really hurts their brand value. And again, unless they have a very transparent, where they can alleviate fears like the ones I have about the integrity of their services, the integrity of their grading, the integrity of their product, all that just went down the tubes this past month. So they've got quite a bit of, crisis control to do. And I don't think we should, the community or the collectors, not the sellers. The sellers obviously want to make their buck, start submitting and get through this, start going back to, normal, when they could charge 100 times off something they found in like a dollar bin, right? Oh, I found this in dollar bin, I got graded 9.8. Now I can sell it for like 100,000 times what it's worth, right? I kind of would hate to burst your bubble, but that market's dead. It's going to die. It's going to die a slow death. I already see it affecting prices on Instagram. You just don't have the amount of people wanting to buy slabs now. And the people who bought slabs probably feel that sting the hardest, right? See a lot of collectors went out there, paid top dollar for 9.8 because they thought fair market value, this is only going to go up and all that. Well, surprise, there's a lot of room for that book to fall, and that's what you're noticing. I mean, the new reality is a slab book can essentially reach the value of a raw book. I mean, that's the worst case scenario, but that's what you're looking at, especially if CGC's reputation, their business go to crap, collectors turn to another service or turn to another standard for their grading and their authentication of the book. That there's a bunch of people that can do that. You don't need to pay a company that's dropped the ball to do that for you. So again, I think there's room for competitors to come in or current players in the market to steal some market share from CGC. But I would say until CGC again releases that data, is more transparent around how they are going to fix the problem. Because as of yet, just saying, oh yeah, we put another guy on there, we put another, like 2 steps or touch points. Is that really, I mean, that's what we expected in the first place, but you're telling us that wasn't there, right? Too much money to walk on concrete. What's up, Agu? There are a lot of people saying, okay, CGC has good financial backing. They'll weather this, even with some down quarters and whatnot. They'll weather this. They'll improve their system. the market will come back. And that could very well happen. I'm not disagreeing with that. But I think that without the transparency, without the data, you have essentially sort of ambiguity around authentication. You have ambiguity around, is this really the grade of the book? Is this really what I'm purchasing, right? Because, hey, let's say you bought a Hulk 181 thinking it's a complete book and you pay $10,000 for a high grade copy of that book, okay? And you open it up and the value stamp isn't there. How pissed would you be? Now, obviously, CGC, they're saying, hey, alert us to these issues. But, if you open that book up, there's no way for you to validate that. The only way for you to say, if you have a questionable book that you think it is, you resubmit it and you say, hey, CGC, I'd like for you to regrade this on your tab and verify it's the book it is. It's a complete book. It's the grade it is. Essentially, they're regrading it and reslabbing it for you, right? Re-authenticating it, regrading it, and reslabbing it and sending it back to you. You think they're going to do that for every book? So is that going to give you peace of mind if they're not doing that? For you to buy a high-priced, high-grade book because you believe that's what you're buying in that slab, but you have a bunch of shady people doing shady things with their books. So it's really a shit show. And I don't think, for those who think, oh yeah, this will blow over in 3 months and the market will cover and people have faith in buying stuff on the secondary market again, think again, buddy. Think again. And if you're so bold to do so, put your money down, put your money where your mouth is. I want to see you go out and buy something on the secondary market, put $1,000 down on a full, fair market value book for a slab. If you can do that, then more power to you. But ask yourself, where will that $1,000 book be next year? We're in stagflation, man. The prices are falling. And I, as a collector, not that I would have bought slab books to begin with, but if I am a buyer in the slab market and I see prices falling, I'm just going to wait. Sit till they hit the rock bottom. And you have enough collectors, you have enough even resellers doing that. It essentially just devalues the entire service and market. There's no recovery from that. There's no recovery. Once it hits like a rock bottom, you think it's suddenly going to be like happy times and, like a bull market again? Not likely. No matter what, like spec news or movie news can drive certain books, we're looking at the entire value of this hobby. So CGC just took a big crap on the hobby. Fortunately for us, if you can grade your own book, you're in luck with the raw books. I don't think raw books are going to be impacted all that much. In fact, you're probably going to see sort of a more kind of leveling out between graded and raw books. Obviously, graded books are still authenticated. Graded books are still going to be higher value than raw books, but you're going to see an evening out. And I think you're just going to see a changing of the guard. I really foresee another company coming in with a better system, promising the same authentication. They'll get the financing, the backing, because there's a market opportunity there. For those of you who think CGC can weather this storm, I would just push back on that. I'd say they might not. So, but anyway, it does seem like there's a portion of like sellers and like slab owners who want to turn the page on this and go back to the good old days and be able to sell the shit that they own. But that remains to be seen. That's a great point. There really isn't much competition, and CBCS, who's to say they're pretty much like you have version A and version B. CBC isn't necessarily a better service either. They have pretty much the exact same system. They pretty much copied their business model off of what CGC was already doing. So you just basically have two copycats of each other. One was just obviously more taken advantage of because it has the higher resale value in the market. I anticipate CBCS may see initially some more business, but their case might be a fraction of a bit better, but it's essentially the same kind of inner well, outer protective covering. So yeah, it doesn't bode well for grading and authentication when the entire industry has the same freaking issue. So it really is about who's the fastest to, well, first of all, it's really the first company that can be transparent, offer that regrading at no cost on any questionable books. Okay. And this will be like everybody with like high valued, high graded slabs will want to verify that this is indeed the book they bought. And CGC, I can see CBCS actually working through that process because the volume that they have that they've on their books isn't the volume CGC has. CGC could not manage that volume. It would just basically disrupt their entire operations. But I can see CBCS doing it, like, because again, got to ask yourself, what's the volume of big books that would come back if such a thing were discovered? CBCS, first of all, isn't going to admit that they have. Nobody's going to admit that they have this issue. But in my view, it's a flaw in every company, because the CGC was sort of the model. If it's a flaw there, it's a flaw everywhere, right? So I really think this is what it comes down to. It comes down to a new kid on the block. New kid on the block has to come in with a really, foolproof, fail-proof kind of system. Introduce it. First of all, have the funding and backing, do the marketing, put it out there, and capture all that new business. Because I tell you right now, if something like that came out right now at this moment, I would just send in books just to try it out and say, I've got this super secure slab now. This is the new industry standard moving forward. There's no corrupted data. There's no corrupted census of the service. They have the same high standards. I mean, if such a company existed, you just see this massive shift, especially if they offered to regrade pre-slab, like CGC slab books at a discount, or at a like a regrading service. If you don't have faith in your CGC slab, send it to us. We'll give you we'll reslab it for you, regrade it and reslab it for you for, a modest discount off the full service, right? Especially if they did something like that. You don't think every collector in their right mind would take advantage of that at this juncture, or even like when that business becomes comes into the market. Tremendous opportunity for a really savvy entrepreneur to take advantage of that opportunity right now. So I think it has to be a new player. To be honest, PGX, CBCS, they're essentially, you know, uh, copycats of CGC. So you got to get a new player, offer a completely revamped service with the improved tamper-proof slab and labeling and all that, and just kill it. They'd kill it right now. So if you've got, millions and millions of dollars to get a business off the ground, dude, invest in a nice. Where's the weather most consistent? No humidity, dry weather. I'd do it up. Not a lot of temperature fluctuations. I guess LA would be heat's not good, I guess. But I guess San Jose would be a great. Well, San Jose is very expensive. Real estate is very expensive there, so I think Sacramento would be a great place if you're going to open up a facility to grade. Big, Sacramento's a big city. It's kind of central in California. Very strong West Coast presence. On the East Coast, you'd probably want to target a place like, there's no good place on the East Coast. It's just too humid. So again, if you made Sacramento sort of the hub, made a big enough receiving center, built the security safeguards, really built a digital work environment. So everything can be kind of captured digitally. All the information and documentation can be secure in like a document repository that they have there. You can put all the forms in there, and you can make that data only available to the people that have a specific like security code related to the slab, right? You could do so many things to improve the security, improve the amount of data related to that process, access pictures, access. Again, if you invest in the infrastructure, the digital infrastructure, the cloud services, the digital infrastructure, which CGC doesn't have at the moment. They don't. They probably have some kind of cloud system or web-based, system, but it's not high tech. Have you been to their websites? It's not the most high tech that money can buy. So again, I think there's a lot of room for venture capital to come in, build a better digital business, document the whole process digitally, secure it digitally, better cloud access to, information sharing with their customers, with their clients, and just have and again, have it to where it's with the improved, you're going to make it cost competitive with the competitors as well. So that's really key as well. It would just drive all that revenue to a new party. AI to take over slabbing. They're already doing it. I think CGC had mentioned a lot of they have software in place to look for corners, look for like it detects like sharp corners, wrapping. It detects like the coloration on pages. Those are all done through software imaging. So it's kind of taking a lot of that the heavy kind of examining the book, all that lifting is really done through. I wouldn't call it AI. It's done through um, done through software. Sort of a automated process, but um, that's already kind of in place. And again, yeah, if you're the new guy in the block, I'm just really kind of throwing ideas out for anybody who's really interested in taking advantage of this market opportunity. Just like if you're going to build a system, build a better infrastructure, build a better facility, uh, have some kind of authentication uh, imprinted in the slab itself. So where any kind of tampering, first of all, you can drop it. It's not going to, it's got to be well protected. It can't drop and crack and all that. So you can pretty much build a stronger type slab. And then if it cracks or if it breaks, there's some kind of system in place to where, oh, okay, the company is alerted. Hey, your slab's broken. Do you want us to regrade the book? And if you do any kind of funny business in sending them another different book, they can catch it. They can look at the notes and say, okay, this is not the book that was sent, whether it's in that inner well, whatever you're doing to seal that and make sure it's tamper proof. Those kinds of things have to be there. And to be honest, it's not there with CGC right now. And they got to invest a lot of money to get it there. And they're going to raise the costs on collectors. And for the people who just, oh, okay, it's more expensive now, but I'm getting a new protective cover now. What kind of marketplace are you living in for you to just deal with that kind of incompetency and arbitrarily like price raising? There's no value there. You're just getting basically raising the prices on you on something that should have been there in the first place, right? I just don't get why people are so fast to overlook stuff like that. Is their service that absolutely necessary, or can you wait until a better solution comes along? We'll see. They've survived. Card companies have survived tampering, fake. They've survived these things, and they've fixed the issues, and collectors have just looked past it. But for me, again, unless I get a book slabbed myself, which I have really no inkling or desire to do at the current moment, there's no way to really guarantee what you're buying on the secondary market is the grade, the book, the complete book that you paid for. So if you are apt to be more trustworthy that what you're buying on the secondary market is what you're getting on the secondary market, by all means do so. But again, the seeds have been planted, stagflation's underway. If you're buying a book right now at fair market value, just wait it out then. If you feel like, or if you are waiting it out, and you think where the ceiling, where the floor is going to be on this stagflating market, by all means, when it reaches a certain floor, feel free to pick up those books. But to expect those books to recover to significantly in terms of what their value used to be in just the market even a year ago, there's no guarantee. All right, what we got in the comments here? Yep, there'll always be folks who figure out ways around the cases. Again, I think you can come up with a tamper-proof system, um, because uh, they've got ways to, like, if you tamper with it, it'll, like, ink can come out. Um, and again, if you're tampering with it, not if you're dropping it or doing that kind of stuff. Um, but like, yeah, it can stain a book or stain the covering of the book, right? The book is intact, but it's stained. You can't get that ink stain off. So at that point, you know, it's not like you'd be taking a big risk to try and cut it out and do all that. Um, when it's obvious, like, there's ink there and you tampered with it, right? So at that point, if you're going to reholder it, they'd be able to see, okay, they did mess with the inner well, and this is not the book. And then you just be basically be going to them with red paint on your hands. Yeah, yeah. Again, it has to be some kind of, like, if it's tamper proof, it's got to release some kind of ink or have some. Again, it's a really fine. I'm not saying it can't be done. I think it can. It just, with the technology that they're using now, it's a hard thing to try and manage. But you can, like, there are ways to, like, encase something and have it absolutely almost impossible to get to. Um, and there's like 3D printing technology and, like, hard plastics, or even glass for that matter, or something like where you have it encased in, like, um, really impenetrable glass. So if you're willing to send in a book and absolutely have no access to it, it's just encased in this, like, slab of, like, you know um, concrete essentially, and you're fine with that. And if there's ever a desire to get the book out, maybe the grading service will then offer to get the book out for you. It's not something you do. You resubmit it and have them send it to you back to you raw or something. Whatever the reason, but once you commit to authentication and protection, grading and protection of the book, that book is like in essentially a Fort Knox type 3D printed type security well that, um, you're just going to have no way of breaking through unless you slice through the entire book with, like, a saw, right? Or, like, take a sledgehammer to it. Why would you take a sledgehammer to your book? If you drop, it's one thing. You put a sledgehammer or saw to your book, it's obviously you have, like, ill intent with the integrity of that book. So, um, yeah, and there's ways to do it. It's just, is it going to be realistic cost wise? Because ultimately, cost comes down to cost, and at the moment, it doesn't seem to be such a solution. And when CGC does land on that solution, that's something that's more trustworthy in terms of security. It's not going to be something collectors are going to be happy about, because you're going to pay more for it. You're going to essentially be paying close to double for what you're currently paying now. So I just don't see a real easy fix around this. The only easy fix around this is if enough people just say, you know what, I know it's not perfect, but I need the grade. I'd like to have it in a slab. I'd like it authenticated. I just want to know, hey, this book is complete. It's what it says it is. It's a grade, and I have some faith in the process, and that this is that the book in this slab is what it says it is. If enough of people, enough of the market get to that point and is like satisfied with moving forward and beyond these like isolated incidents, and that these things won't continue to pop up, or it's not problematic in the current marketplace. Once, let's say, I have that faith, then yeah, I think that recovery can happen. There doesn't have to be a lot of like big jumps in terms of the process. But for me personally, no. I think I need access to that data first and foremost. And then if I do have a reholder book, I need to know CGC would grade and re-authenticate that book for on their budget for my peace of mind. And it really is every reholder book. To say a percentage of reholder books or just a few reholder books, that speaks to how little they know. You know, if you're to say 2% of reholder books were affected, and just concretely come to that conclusion of from what exactly? Somebody tipping you off that this was happening. So what percentage of reholder books is questionable at the moment with no transparency? 100% of reholder books are potentially problematic. So until they start going through that backlog of reholder serviced books, which there's no data on, by the way, and if there is, let me know. If you actually scan a code and it shows graded on this date, reholdered on this date, if you have that data in that certain number, please let me know, because I don't think that's currently available in my knowledge of the service. But that's huge. Even that would, like, for me, that would alleviate a lot of things, because at least I could say, okay, I have this questionable book. I got to go to CBCS or another grading service, or I could have CGC resolve the issue for me by just relooking at the book. And again, that it comes down to, are they going to fit the bill, or are they going to charge me to re-authenticate something that's questionable? And if they really guarantee it, they should be doing it for free, right? So I just look at it as like a huge nightmare. And without that kind of assurance, that kind of good faith measure on CGC's part, I don't want to. I don't trust what I'm getting on the secondary market. That's just a sad fact. That's the sad outcome of this entire debacle. It's like, you buy a 9.8, and if that data isn't there, you just don't know what's in that book. If the interior of that book is truly what it says it is. But I did mention in my past video, for those collectors now, I think this is going to force just a lot of collectors to grade better, be more aware of, well, first of all, it's going to drive people to just toward raw books, buying raw books. Raw books are no guarantee either, but at least raw books, you should be able to take it out, examine the pages, look at the condition, like just talk. And if a seller doesn't want you to do that, take your business elsewhere. Especially on the bigger books, you should be able to do that, or at least go over it with the owner to do it. You know, the owner can do it. Now, there's always a risk of damage and stuff, and that is something to be mindful of. But yeah, I mean, you have to make assurances that what you're getting is there, and that's what CGC was there for, to eliminate all that questions around grading, all that. But again, I think it's You're going to see more people get into the raw market. Raw market's always going to be obviously lower valued. It's just they might drive a little bit more value into raws, but people are going to have to just uh, come to those conclusions on the value of a book by themselves. So it's a hard reset on the hobby right now, and you're just going to see values, I think, plummet. Raws not so much, but definitely on the graded values, you're going to see those plummet. People are just going to have less. They're going to put less value in terms of a higher grade. To no fault of the mark of their own, it's just the current climate. Hopefully, we get a recovery, but the current climate, man, who's going to spend, you know, who's going to spend thousands of dollars on a 6.0 Golden Age book that you have no faith that that's the Golden Age book that's in there? It's not some kind of restored, book with pages missing or something. It's just there's just so much. There's so much uncertainty around what's out there in the market right now, and it's just the mystery is encased in plastic. It's not like you can open it up and verify and all that. Yes, it is what it says it is. Or, oh shit, this is not the book it says. It's not the book I bought. Like, there's just no way to do it without messing with the book. It's one of those like catch-22s for everybody involved. CGC is in a catch-22. The collectors are in a catch-22. The sellers are in a catch-22. Because as a seller, shit, it's like, damn, I paid a lot of money for that, and now I'm seeing the prices drop. Do I really want to submit these books, invest in these books, and have them come back and be worthless in three months? That's a shitty position to be in, but that's kind of where sellers are right now. So obviously sellers want to turn the page. They want to go back to making profits. Collectors, I think collectors will benefit most because they'll just watch prices fall. So it's just about, can I wait out? I'm waiting. I'm not on slot prices. I'm just waiting. So you're gonna see stagflation at the market. And, we're gonna see a lot of $10, $20 books become dollar books. You're gonna see $100 books become $50 books. You're gonna see $300, $500 books become $100 books, and you're gonna see $10,000 books become like affordable, like $2,000 to $3,000 books. So it's just gonna have this like cascading effect. So I've definitely lowered price expectations for all the books I'm targeting for the coming year. So I'm glad I didn't pick up everything I needed to pick up last year, especially the bigger books. I'm just glad I didn't do it last year. I'm also sad about picking up so much stuff. I got it cheap. That's one thing I can rest my laurels on. But a lot of the stuff I picked up just probably it hasn't gone up at all for sure. If anything, it's probably declined just a bit. So we'll see how far prices fall coming this year. Again, if I build enough budget, I really hope this affects signature price books as well. So Jim Lee drops his signature package. I can get 6 books signed for like under $300. That would be a good thing. All right, well, it was fun chatting up. And again, shout out to Brian LCS for these wonderful books. Just absolutely love everything I picked up in the new year so far. And really looking to 2024. You're not going to get the frequency of the pickups. In fact, I don't know when my next haul video is going to be. I'm going to just kind of take a break. I've already been through inventory at Mill Geek, inventory at Destiny, so I'm good until probably a month or 2 months from now, until that inventory is kind of. I think Emerald City Comic Con might be a good after Emerald City Comic Con might be a good time to kind of go shopping for books again. Because generally after like Comic Cons, you tend to have people putting out a little bit of a discount or whatever to get business generated. So we'll see. But just going to continue to build up budget until the summer, and then work the summer and build up budget more, and then we'll just have it at the in the fall. You're just going to see we pick up a bunch of hopefully big bargain books. Hopefully, I think it'd be a prime time come fall when the prices are really just stagnated and hit their lows. And don't forget the fact that the cost of cash right now is more expensive. So, if you're going to pay $300 for a book, okay, that $300 right now costs more than $300 once interest rates go down. So it just doesn't make sense to be spending a lot on books right now. Wait till at least a couple, interest rate cuts, and then at least that book is still $300. It's probably less. It'll probably be less by the time interest rate cuts could roll around. That would be a better time to buy than now. There's always unless the money's burning a hole in your pocket, just wait. And that's a hard thing to do. I know. I can attest to the discipline of waiting on a book, but think like timing is everything in a marketplace, and sometimes it's a time to buy, sometimes it's a time to sell. And right now it's definitely like, if you can unload a book, unload it. Or if you want to wait, if you want to really make back your money on an item, don't compromise and wait it out. But I'm telling you, right, a lot of collectors like me are not wanting to pay current market values on a book. If you come at me with like 30%, that might make more sense. But if you're offering 30% now, what are you going to offer 3-4 months from now? 50? So why don't I wait till it's actually 50% less in terms of its real value? Then it's like this is how books this is how the market crashes. Verifying signatures is a whole lot more, I think, secure, because it is a one-way, right? It's a one-way thing. And even if you were to swap out, let's say, a signed book, you'd have to have the same size. I mean, unless you're really good at unless you're some kind of professional, and there are people like that. There are people who can absolutely flawlessly copy a signature. So don't think. Yeah, I mean, that's, I think, a legitimate claim. C2C signatures, it's verified, it's witness verified and all that. But the question is, once you get that, let's say I got it, and again, I tamper with the book and I put I have the signed book. I know it was signed, but the risk of taking it out is now I don't have that authentication unless I'm keeping it for myself and I never sell it, and then selling this other book that I, you know, that's a to go through that entire, criminal mind, criminal scheming is pretty elaborate and a waste of mental and physical energy, to be honest. So I think I absolutely agree with you. I think CGC signatures have a lot of value, um, but you do have to be careful and wary, and um, don't think it's 100% like foolproof. No, no, that it could be manipulated as well, but I think there's less risk there. And let's talk about these uh, ASM 9.8s on the market. I mean, this dude was doing this like some kind of production. It's great, 350 books on just ASM. So he obviously had like a box or like a collection of ASM. He was a comic book shop owner or some warehouse dude, and he had a big stash or stack of ASM. Was it 252s? And he went out of his way to get a book graded or get several books graded, okay, and retain the 9/8 or get 9/8, take them out, resubmit the 9/8, and put lesser grades. Have the 9/8 come back graded 9/8, and just kind of like just repeat this like process to where the 9/8 were just continuing to come back 9/8. He was selling the illegitimate 9/8 and just kind of like regurgitating and doing, and so he just probably sold a bunch of fake CGC 9/8s with lower grade, like a collection of lower grade books, which he had probably like just a big stack of raws. So that begs the question, how isolated is that, or how prevalent is it? I can see just somebody with just a small stack of like real big keys doing it, right? What's to prevent you from like going out and buying every, low grade Marvel stampless Hulk 181 that you can get on the market, like you can buy those and then you can really play that same game, right? With a high grade copy. You just need one high grade copy to continue to reholder and reholder and reholder and reholder. Wait, no, that doesn't work. Or just get regraded, regraded and regraded and regraded and regraded, where it comes back the same grade, the same grade, the same grade, the same grade. And you're using all those high grade slabs to insert the or reholder the crappy books in. So I'm telling you, don't buy slabs until there's better data, better transparency. Don't buy them. You just don't know how the extent of how far this goes. And if you're thinking it's isolated, then yeah, again, but if you really think that, then put your money where your mouth is. Go out and buy just anything off of eBay for fair market value. Do it. If you truly think that, I want to see if somebody put a video out. Hey, everything's freaking hunky dory, man. I'm gonna go on eBay right now and buy this 9.8. Gonna crack it open and show you everything's fine. Do it. Put the money down. Do it. That's a big leap of faith. All right. Thanks for watching. And yeah, just there's nothing I'm that's on the horizon. I think Naman Hyung and I are gonna do probably do an artist feature. A collector feature, an artist feature, or something in the coming weeks. We haven't put out content in so long. Part of it is, we're not doing the yard. What's it called? Yardy anymore? Is it Yardy? Anyway, the studio. We're not doing the studio service anymore, so it'll probably have to be through some like free streaming service. I don't know if YouTube supports it. I think there might be a way to join like a multi stream on YouTube, but we'll figure something out. In the meantime, go check out some great videos. I really appreciated, there's a local guy here who restores books. He does cleanings, he restores books, and he had some pretty good observations about what he would like to see kind of fixed in the process. But it really just boils down to, coming up with like a tamper-proof system, which he doesn't necessarily propose, but that's what it boils down to. And it's going to take quite a bit of, I think, innovative material design materials, all those things that make a great product. You're gonna have to put that kind of analysis and research and development into. That's gonna take time. There's just nothing that is available in the market, and for people to think, oh yeah, they're gonna come up with one sooner rather than later. No, these things take time, and in the meantime, we'll just have to see how they continue the sort of the PR assuaging of collectors, trying to allay their fears with this BS that it's isolated. So I'll just be tuned into that. Again, until I hear something that really does, like, oh, okay, they've done this, so now I think I can rest at ease. Until I reach that point, I'm still gonna not put any stock or faith into what they're saying about the current mess. But let me know in the comments if you are gonna grade books. I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing. If you're gonna grade books and just keep them in your collection, that's not the worst thing to do, because at least the books you have are your books. But where I would caution you is, if you are doing that to resell or have some kind of value at the end of the day, that's something you have to evaluate. If you think, oh, okay, I'm going to submit it and I want to just flip it, that value is not going to be there. The time you submit it and the time it comes back, that value is going to be less. And the time you actually sell it, the value is going to be even less. Again, in this current market environment, something you have to weigh. But if you're just going to keep in your private collection because you love the books, kind of like my situation, like I don't sell anything I slab. I haven't slabbed a lot, but everything I've slabbed, I'm keeping and I've kept. If it's that kind of situation, then by all means do it now rather than later. Because I think at some point CGC is going to raise its prices. I don't know if necessarily that's going to warrant, the price hike is going to warrant added value to their service. That remains to be seen. But yeah, in all likelihood, we're getting a new case, some new data points around the cert number. And right now, I wouldn't trust the census numbers one bit. Census numbers are just completely flawed right now. So take census numbers with a grain of salt, which is was a big resource in terms of like market transparency. Now, who knows what's what? So, it's just a bunch of. CGC just took a big crap on the hobby. So just let's be mindful of that and not be so quick to like forgive them, because no matter who you are right now, you're gonna suffer from lower prices for books, higher prices for services. That's kind of what you're dealing with right now. So, which, in all honesty, sucks. No one wants to do that. All right, get some sleep, guys. Thanks for hanging out. We'll see you in the next one. Otaku out.